Maya Collins stepped out of the bookstore just as the sun dipped below the skyline. She wrapped her old cardigan tighter around her shoulders, balancing her canvas bag and pressing her phone to her ear. "Have you eaten dinner yet? And don't tell me it's instant noodles again," she said with a half-scolding, half-tender tone. Her younger brother's voice crackled through traffic noise. "Sort of. I had a sandwich. That counts, right?" Maya smiled wearily. "That's not real dinner, Jamie." "You're not my mom," he teased, then added more seriously, "but don't take the shortcut through 7th Street. It's getting dark." "I'll be fine. My feet are killing me. It's faster that way." She hung up after a few more words, sliding the phone into her coat pocket. The evening air brushed past her and her boots tapped softly on the empty sidewalk. That's when she saw it. A black leather wallet lay quiet near the curb, half covered by a damp newspaper. Maya slowed. There was no one around, no dog walkers, no joggers. She bent down and picked it up. The leather was soft, expensive. She opened it. A few crisp bills. Not much, but still more than most would carry. A black credit card, an ID, Ryan Blake. She sat on a nearby bench, heart uneasy. No one had seen her, no one would know. But then she whispered, "This isn't who I am." She rose, clutching the wallet tightly. In a world that often looks the other way, she still chose to do what's right. Maya's small apartment was as quiet as ever, bathed in the soft yellow glow of an old lamp. She placed the black leather wallet on the worn wooden table and sat down across from it as if it were a question waiting to be answered. She opened it again, slower this time. Cash, neatly stacked, almost too perfect. Crisp $100 bills folded precisely, a black credit card, the kind meant for people in a financial tier far above hers. No photo, no handwritten note, nothing personal, just one simple business card. The name Ryan Blake. Beneath it in small type, Blake Systems, and a Midtown office address. No phone number, no email, no message. Maya turned the card in her fingers. She had never heard the name before. Maybe a businessman, maybe a lawyer, maybe just someone with a very thick wallet. Whoever he was, the wallet didn't belong to her. She opened her laptop and typed in Blake Systems. A sleek corporate website appeared, clean, cold, with only one point of contact, a blank form. She filled it out. "I found a wallet on 7th Street. The name inside is Ryan Blake. I didn't take anything. Please let me know how to return it." Maya clicked send and leaned back in her chair. She had no idea that this simple message would be the first page of a story she never expected to live. The next morning, Maya received an email from Dot. The message was brief, no thank you, no curiosity, just, "Please bring the wallet to our Midtown office between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. today. Ask for Monica at the front desk." She read it twice, then a third time, not out of surprise, but because maybe, just maybe, a small part of her had hoped for something more human. But once again, the world met sincerity with silence. Still, she went, because doing the right thing didn't require applause. The Blake Systems building was a towering block of glass and steel, modern, pristine, and utterly impersonal. The receptionist barely looked up as Maya gave her name. 14th floor, Monica will meet you there. The elevator opened into a spotless space with new carpet and cold lighting. Monica, dressed in a crisp beige suit, approached briskly. "Thank you for bringing this." Maya handed her the wallet. Monica passed her a small white envelope. "Mr. Blake asked me to give you this as a token of appreciation." Maya hesitated. "I didn't do it for money. It's standard," Monica replied flatly. Maya accepted it, only to avoid the awkwardness, but as the elevator doors closed, she opened the envelope. A thick stack of crisp $100 bills. She exhaled. Then, stepping into the gray morning drizzle, she walked to the nearest trash bin and dropped it in, without looking back. What she didn't know was that on the 14th floor, Ryan Blake was watching from his office, replaying the security footage, and he couldn't look away. The wind chime above the door gave a soft jingle as Ryan Blake stepped into the small bookstore on Linden Street. The space was quiet, filled with the scent of old paper and damp wood. A faint stream of classical music floated from a vintage radio behind the counter. The windows still held the trace of rain. Ryan paused just inside, brushing off his raincoat, eyes scanning the cozy room. It didn't take long to spot her. Maya stood at the back, restocking a row of old poetry books. Her hair was tied up loosely, a pencil tucked behind one ear. A few strands had fallen across her cheek. She moved without a sound, not performing for attention, but each motion careful, deliberate. Ryan walked slowly toward a nearby shelf, pretending to browse. She looked up, offering a polite, neutral smile. "Can I help you find something?" Her voice was low and steady, the kind that never rushed. "Actually, I'm looking for something thoughtful, but not too depressing," Ryan replied. Maya tilted her head, considered, then pulled a book from the shelf. "The Remains of the Day." "It's quiet," she said, "but it lingers, kind of like regret." He took the book, glanced at the cover, then back at her. "Is that your sales pitch?" She shrugged, half smiling. "I'm not much of a salesperson." "I can tell," he said, but gently, amused, and already disarmed by her quiet honesty. "You're not from around here, are you?" she asked, eyes flicking to his tailored coat and understated luxury watch. "Guilty," he smiled. "Sometimes I just like walking into places where no one knows who I am." She didn't respond immediately, but something in her posture softened. "Do you think being anonymous makes people more honest?" she asked. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe it just makes them braver." That answer made Maya look at him a little longer. She didn't yet know who he was, but Ryan did, and he knew this wasn't just small talk. This was a beginning. In the days that followed, Ryan kept returning to the bookstore. At first, he told himself it was for the books, then for the quiet. But by the third visit in a week, he stopped pretending. He came for Maya. She didn't try to impress him. She didn't ask what he did for a living, didn't glance at his expensive watch or guess the brand of his coat. She simply offered him tea when the store was slow, suggested quiet reads, and, sometimes, asked questions that lingered long after he left. "You don't strike me as someone who reads poetry," she said once, handing him a slim collection by Mary Oliver. "That obvious?" he smiled. "Just a guess," Maya replied, her tone teasing but soft. "But maybe you're the kind of person who needs it most." He didn't argue. They started talking about things not found between pages: losses, missteps, unspoken regrets. One rainy afternoon, Ryan sat at the little wooden table near the window. Maya was shelving old hardcovers nearby, sleeves rolled up, a soft curl falling over her cheek. "You always seem steady," he said, his voice low, "like nothing shakes you." She laughed quietly, not looking up. "That's funny. I used to feel like I was living in an earthquake zone for years." Ryan tilted his head, listening. "I was engaged once," she said simply. "He was charming, good with words, until he emptied my savings account 3 weeks before the wedding." Silence. "I lost everything, but I promised myself I wouldn't let it turn me bitter." Ryan tightened his grip on the tea. "I couldn't control what he did," Maya said, eyes still on the shelves. "But I could choose who I'd become after." He didn't respond, but for the first time in a very long while, Ryan felt the walls inside him begin to crack. That afternoon, the little cafe on the corner felt slower than usual. Maya and Ryan sat at a table under the trees, 2 cups of mint tea between them still steaming. The March breeze was light, sunlight filtering through the leaves above them in soft, shifting patches. Maya was telling a story about her childhood in the suburbs, how she used to sneak books under her blanket with a flashlight. Ryan listened intently, yet something in his expression looked quietly troubled, like a truth sitting on the edge of his tongue. She didn't notice, not until a voice broke through the calm. "Ryan Blake, I almost didn't recognize you without that watch." A man in a pale blazer strode toward them, grinning. "The $100 million CEO? Now sipping tea like the rest of us?" Ryan froze. And so did Maya. For a moment, the world around them seemed to stop. Like the city's noise had been sucked away, in a single breath. She turned to Ryan, waiting for a correction, a joke, anything, but he said nothing. The man clapped him on the back and walked off, unaware of the silence he left behind. Maya tried to smile. "So, you're really a CEO?" "It's not what you think," Ryan said quickly, standing up. "I just wanted to lie to me?" Her voice was quiet but sharp. "You talk about poetry, about decency, while living a double life?" "It wasn't like that. I just wanted to be myself around you, not my title, not my net worth. Then you should have started with the truth." She rose from her chair, no tears, but her eyes had turned cold. "You were the first person I let in after a long time, Ryan. And you started with a lie." She turned and walked away, fast, silent, and unreachable. Ryan didn't follow. He just stood there, one hand still around a full cup of tea, as if he'd just lost something more valuable than all he owned. 2 mornings later, Maya arrived at the bookstore early. A cream-colored envelope had been slipped under the door. No logo, no printed header, just her name, written in a slanted, careful hand. She opened it slowly. Inside was a letter. "Maya, I grew up in a mansion where people wore suits to dinner and said, 'I love you,' like it was a formality. I was taught to be strong, to control, to win, but never how to be gentle, honest, or kind. Then I lost a wallet, and a stranger returned it, took nothing, wanted nothing. That stranger was you. You didn't know who I was, but somehow you saw me. Before I ever learned how to see myself, you made it safe to be real, and that changed me. If you choose never to see me again, I'll understand. But if even the smallest part of you believes I meant every word, please don't stay silent. I don't know how to begin again, but if I can begin with you, I'll spend the rest of my life learning how." Maya read the letter 3 times. She didn't cry, but her heart was no longer still. On Saturday morning, Ryan stood at the corner of Maple and 4th in a plain gray hoodie and jeans. No bodyguards, no luxury car, no CEO shine. Maya's text had been short: Saturday, 8 a.m., no suits. She met him outside the bookstore, holding a paper bag of steamed buns, a playful spark in her eye. "No bodyguards?" she asked, half teasing. Ryan smiled and nodded. "Left them all in the penthouse." "Good. Today, you're in my world." They started the morning at the local market. Low plastic stools, the scent of herbs, vendors shouting prices over piles of greens. Maya moved through the crowd like she belonged to it. She greeted vendors, haggled for fun, slipped a banana into a little boy's hand when his mother wasn't looking. Ryan followed a step behind, awkward at first, but slowly, something in him loosened. When she handed him a cup of soy milk and said, "Don't read the ingredients, just drink it," he laughed, really laughed. After the market, they stopped at the library where she volunteered on weekends. She introduced him as a friend learning how to whisper properly, then handed him a stack of children's books to reshelve. In the afternoon, they visited a local children's shelter. The kids swarmed Maya with hugs. Ryan, unsure at first, ended up drawing cats, with a little girl who only communicated through gestures. She giggled when he drew the tail backwards. As the sun dipped low, they sat on the curb eating grilled corn and sticky rice. No flashing cameras, no applause. Just 2 people, and the quiet feeling of being real, being seen, being at peace. 1 year after that morning of sticky rice on the curb, Maya and Ryan weren't just in love. They had built something bigger than love itself. The Kind Roots Foundation began with a simple idea: help those who do the right thing, even when no one's watching. People like Maya once was, like the janitor who returned a briefcase full of cash and got fired, like the homeless woman who found a diamond ring and searched to return it. With Ryan's resources and Maya's heart, the foundation took shape: small grants, temporary housing, job training, and most of all, restoring dignity. For their 1-year anniversary, they hosted a quiet gathering at the bookstore where everything began. No media, no speeches, just warm tea, cinnamon rolls, and softer kinds of celebration. After the last guest left, Ryan stepped out for a moment, then returned with a worn copy of The Little Prince in his hand. He handed it to Maya. She flipped through the pages. A small velvet box slid gently into her palm. Inside was a sapphire ring, elegant, simple, timeless. Ryan looked at her, voice steady. "I used to be afraid people only saw what I had, not who I was. But you saw me, even before I could see myself. I don't know what chapter this is," he continued, "but I know I want to write the whole book with you." Maya smiled, eyes shimmering with quiet tears. "Then let me write the prologue." The little bookstore on Linden Street hadn't changed. Wooden shelves slightly bowed, the scent of old pages, sunlight spilling in like quiet time. But its heart had. And so had the woman behind the counter, wearing a soft sapphire ring that caught the light with every gesture. There was a calm in her now, the kind that only comes when you've been broken, and then chosen anyway. Maya looked at Ryan not as the CEO behind a billion-dollar company, but as the man who had once chosen to stay in the rain with her. A man who had been lost, then found his way back, starting with a wallet that didn't cost him anything, but gave back everything. That day she returned something forgotten. Today he returned something rare, the feeling of being seen, chosen, and loved, the right way. Among shelves filled with imagined loves, they had written something real. A story that began with kindness, passed through hurt, and rested in forgiveness. And now it lived on, in every book they touched, every hand they helped, every quiet page they turned together. No fanfare, no spotlight, just a promise, page by page, word by word, with hearts that no longer needed to hide. Because sometimes it only takes one honest act to rewrite a lifetime.